Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Specialized Undergraduate Pilot Training Graduation Ceremony for Class 2308 AU. I am Lieutenant Colonel Michael Kissinger, Commander of the 33rd Flying Training Squadron, training students in the T-6 Texan.
And I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dan Hughes, Commander of the 71st Student Squadron.
Today's ceremony is a once-in-a-lifetime event. We encourage you to come forward and take pictures or videos when your loved one is presented an award or their wings. For your planning purposes, the wings are presented by rank and in alphabetical order.
Please stand for the entrance of the platform party and remain standing for the national anthem of the United States of America and Vietnam, followed by the invocation given by Chaplain Morrison.
Let us pray. Love and Spirit, we gather today to celebrate the graduates of this class. Our hearts are filled with happiness for each and every graduate here today. You, Holy One, have prepared each of them for this day. Long before they were conceived, this day was destined in their lives, and at this moment we are here to witness this fulfillment of purpose. Remind them that this was not an accident, yet a divine appointment. At this hour, we pray, God, for the courage and self-discipline to pursue higher goals, yet also to sit in silence and solitude for reflection and a refreshed mind and spirit. Direct new steps, give strength during future uncertainty, and give courage to carry out new responsibilities and assignments. And so on today. At this divine time of appointment, we have gathered here to bear witness to love so amazing, hope so marvelous that nothing in their lives is ever to remain the same. And for each of them to always remember to serve before self in integrity and excellence. For this is the day that our holy God is forever present, and we recognize the gift of success. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Chaplain Morrison, thank you for the invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Today, 24 officers will receive their wings. On behalf of Colonel J. Johnson, Commander, 71st Flying Training Wing, I'd like to welcome the families and friends of Class 2408 AU, as well as several members of Team Vance, including squadron commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, spouses, and our ASRC and Amentum contractors.
We are honored to have the following guests and wing leadership here to support the graduates. The Mayor, City of Enid, the Honorable George Pinkinen, and his wife, Melody. Command Chief Master Sergeant, Air Combat Command Chief Master Sergeant John J. Storms. The Vice Commander, 71st Flying Training Wing, Colonel Matthew Astroff. The Command Chief, 71st Flying Training Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Brandon Smith, and his spouse Jessica, and his guest Airman of the Month, Airman First Class Ashley Christ. Representing the 71st Operations Group, Lieutenant Colonel David Bopp and his spouse Emily. The Commander, 71st Mission Support Group, Colonel Paul Miller and his spouse Michelle. The Commander, 71st Medical Group, Colonel Richard Speakman. The Senior Enlisted Leader, 71st Medical Group, Chief Master Sergeant Leslie Finley. The Director of Maintenance, 71st Flying Training Wing, Dr. Sherry Teague. Additionally, we are honored to have the following distinguished visitors as special guests of Class 2308 AU. Please stand or wave your hand to be recognized. Brigadier General J. Jabor, United States Air Force, retired, and his spouse, Colonel Ginger Jabor, United States Air Force, retired.
We would also like to give a warm welcome to our guest speaker, the Commander, Air Combat Command, General Mark D. Kelly, and the Commander, 71st Flying Training Wing, Colonel J. Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Johnson.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome you to Vance Air Force Base and what we like to call Enid, America. Today is an incredible day in the lives of these 24 new aviators and as we recognize undergraduate pilot training class 2308. Mayor Pinkinen and Melody, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that aren't familiar, this town is incredibly supportive of what we do here at Vance Air Force Base. In fact, they just won the Altus Trophy last week, which recognizes the Community and Air Education Training Command that is the best out of all of them. And so we got to hand them that trophy last week, which was absolutely incredible. So thank you for being here and supporting our mission. To my fellow wing leaders, group squadron commanders, chiefs, to our government civilians and our contract partners, thanks for being here today. It takes an incredible team to make this day possible. You guys don't get to these seats unless the 2,600 folks show up every day to make sure everything is ready to go for you guys. I'd also like to welcome our distinguished visitors in the audience today. In our presence today, we actually have several members from different branches of the U.S. military, Guard, Reserve, and retired. You and those that have gone before us have paved the way for us to be here today, and I think you deserve a special round of applause. So thank you for your service. All right, my favorite group of folks, minus the students. You guys are my favorite, obviously, but minus you guys. Spouses, fiancés, those that want to be fiancés. There's always a couple. There's always a couple. Moms, dads, grandparents, brothers, sisters, friends and family members of Class 20 through 8. Welcome to today's ceremony. You've provided the graduates with the foundation, the principles, the moral compass, the grit, the fortitude that they need to make it through an extremely demanding program. So thank you for sharing this day with us. Thank you for providing the foundation it takes for them to get to these seats. Welcome. So by way of introduction, Vance is one of 4 undergraduate pilot training bases in the United States Air Force, and in my unbiased opinion, the best in the United States Air Force, at preparing and delivering highly qualified Air Force aviators and aviators from our partner nations as well to go do our nation's business. In executing that mission, Vance Air Force Base has delivered over 35,000 pilots since we started doing this in 1941, including such notables as General Richard Myers, the 15th Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Ronald Fogelman, the former Air Force Chief of Staff, and the first female to command a shuttle mission, Colonel Eileen Collins. So 2308, make no mistake, you're graduating on sacred ground. Air Force heroes have walked the flight rooms that you've walked and learned to fly with Victor November on the tail flash, and I know that you'll follow in their footsteps and make all of us fans proud. So 2308, in the seats next to you, whether you recognize it or not, are fellow airmen with whom you share a special bond. Whether it was academics, initial solo, dunk tank, track select not too long ago, or soon to be assignment night, just to name a few, you share a special bond that will last as long as you live this life. And I'm telling you, those memories only get better with time. 10% truth rule applies, my friends. So here we are. You're about to earn your wings. I ask you to please remember, wearing them is not a right, it's a privilege. And it's a privilege given and taken by those who preceded you, and a privilege which you soon will be empowered to extend to those that follow you. That's part of what makes this a profession. It takes a total team effort to get you guys to these seats today, and I'm very proud of the collective effort it took to get 2308 to graduation. We pour a ton of resources in these young men and women. If I was to tell you that we had spent $1 million on them just to get them to this point, I'm probably on the low side, and they're just getting started. But it's really not about the money. It's about the people that it takes. And the 2,600 folks that show up every single day show up with one purpose in mind, and that's to get you your wings. So whether they're supporting, generating, or executing the flying mission, all played a vital role. Among that team are 3 groups I'd like to quickly single out. Although they are the least represented here today, I think I see 1 or 2, is our instructor pilots. These men and women take these graduates and they mold them into professional aviators, and they deserve special thanks. The reason that very few of them are here today is because Class 2309 and 2310 and 2311 are right behind you. So they are in the air above us right now. They're in the classrooms. They're in the simulator buildings, making sure that we create the next generation of pilots. So a round of applause for instructor pilots, please. Second is our amazing team of professionals who maintain our aircraft. Pilots break them, and maintainers fix them, and you guys are really good at breaking airplanes. Not one of you can look at me and say you didn't break an airplane while you were here. We have an incredible team of government civilians and contractors who are every bit an airman as those of us that wear the uniform, and we couldn't execute this mission without Dr. Sherry Teague and her quality team, and Mr. Brady Wilkins and our Momentum maintainers. We have 4 and 5 generations of families that have grown up on this flight line that make sure our fleet of 206 aircraft are ready to go every single day. So a round of applause for our maintainers, please. Third and final are the fantastic men and women that make up our support and medical groups, whether it's cops, services, finance, MPF, dental, flight medicine, you name it. Those wings that we're about to hand you aren't possible if they don't show up and do their job every day and do it with excellence. So please, a round of applause for our support personnel. All right, lastly, and then I'm going to get out of the way, I want to share 2 questions that are going to stick with you as long as you're an Air Force aviator. This is the Kevin Bacon game of Air Force aviation, right? You're going to be asked 2 questions. Where'd you go to pilot training, and what class were you in? I guarantee you, no matter where you're at in the world. And this game is how quickly can I get to somebody that knows and trusts you that I know and trust. It's a credibility check. So make no mistake, you went to Vance Air Force Base, you're class 2308, It does not get any more credible than that. So welcome to the long blue line. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my honor, my privilege to get out of the way and introduce the folks that you all really want to hear from, General Mark Kelly. General Kelly is the commander of Air Combat Command. As the commander, he's responsible for organizing, training, equipping, and maintaining combat-ready both air, space, cyber, and intelligence forces for rapid deployment and employment. The command operates more than 1,000 aircraft, 35 wings, 12 bases, over 1,300 units at more than 242 locations worldwide, and over 150,000 total force military and civilian personnel. General Kelly entered the Air Force in 1986, receiving his commission from the Air Force ROTC program at Southwest Texas State University, which he just got to visit a couple days ago. Earned his pilot wings at Euro-NATO Joint Jet Pilot Training at Shepherd. We don't hold that against him at all. And General Kelly has commanded Fighter Squadron, 2 fighter wings, an expeditionary wing, and 2 numbered air forces. He's a command pilot with more than 6,000 hours, including over 800 hours in combat and fighter aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, my honor to introduce General Mark Kelly.
Well, it's great to be here today. I really appreciate the invite, and it's great to be amongst our soon-to-be graduates and our family and instructors as well. One of the young UPT students that I met today commented to me, they quoted, being a 4-star MAJCOM commander who still gets to fly the F-15E seems neat. My reply is, yes, I'm very fortunate, but while being the token AARP member still flying seems neat, being a lieutenant or captain in our Air Force that flies every day, well, that actually is neat. And so congrats, and I'm happy to trade with you any day. You know, every UPT student here today has worked hard and studied hard, chair-flown missions to earn the privilege today to wear United States Air Force wings and continue their training as they go forward, and then go on to serve in the combat air forces or the mobility air forces of our nation. And you're ready for the next phase of your training, or you wouldn't be here. In the months to come, and soon after departing Vance, you'll air-to-air refuel over mountainous turbulence. You'll deliver precious cargo and weapons to the precise location and the exact timing that it's needed. Your individual execution is paramount to mission success because lives are in the balance of your skill and your prior preparation. You know, but as you go forward and you get to do the incredible things that your Air Force and your nation will ask of you, those things that only your Air Force and nation can have you do, never forget the foundation of every complex operation is built on doing ordinary aviation tasks extraordinarily well. The best air forces, the best squadrons, the best pilots in the world execute ordinary aviation tasks extraordinarily well. Their ground ops are cleaner, their admin to and from the airspace is crisp, their radios, their switches, their avionics, their air refueling is flawless. They are vigilant against complacency and loath to any culture of overt noncompliance. Besides being inherently safer, they're more lethal, they're more survivable, and they're more disciplined in the air. These aviators are humble, approachable, and credible. Their number of landings normally equals their number of takeoffs. These things are important because besides being the defenders of Western democracy, some of you will go on to lead missions in combat. Some of you will develop to lead squadrons. Some of you will lead wings. So no matter how complex the operation is, we have to execute terrain clearance tasks. We have to deconflict from other aircraft, deconflict from our own individual flight members, coalition teammates. Sometimes we have to deconflict from Russians and other folks that enter our airspace. We have to deconflict from other stuff that's in the air as well. Weapons and pallets that fly from aircraft to the ground, things our adversaries might send from the ground upwards towards us, or artillery fired from our friendly forces in support of other ground units. We have to stay in the airspace, and we can't run out of gas. It doesn't change from here for the next 35 years. Our cockpit switches and flight parameters have to be perfect. We have to follow the rules of flight and the rules of engagement. And you have to follow the concrete laws of aviation. If you choose not to follow the laws of Bernoulli, you'll get to visit the laws of Newton. When those wings hit your chest today, know that with great achievement comes great responsibility. And as you look forward to the next chapter of this Air Force journey, don't forget to look back and remember, to navigate the challenge of this UPT phase, you've learned and leaned on your family. Our families are our highest performing and least paid members of this big blue Air Force team. Take time to thank them. When you graduate from your major weapons system formal training units, it'll be another day to reflect. And it'll be another day to thank your family. As you get your operational units and train some more, you become mission ready. When that day comes, thank your family. When you deploy, it could be a short trip to a training exercise or a long combat deployment. When you get home, thank your family. Also, over the past few months, you often hit the books at times that prevented you from hitting the gym. I can tell you with absolute certainty that the human body is not designed for 37 years and 6,000 hours in these airplanes. So as you go forth, remember in your core values, never, never blink from integrity first. Never blink from excellence in all we do. But when you consider our third core value, service above self, do not construe, do not conflate service above self or service above those things you should hold higher than yourself. And I'd offer there your faith, your family, your fitness. The short translation is keep your spirit strong and don't run out of family or health before you run out of career. Also remember that every task that you'll execute or already have executed was built on a previous task. And prior to any successful skill set lies a focused mindset. Before you flew formation, you flew single ship. Before you flew solo, you flew with an instructor. Before you flew at all, you trained in the sim. And before you climbed in the sim, there was lots of academics. Know that every task this day forward builds on that same foundation of tasks that you've built in UPT. Study and preparation is the simple prerequisite, the simple ante for a longer career of flying, fighting, and winning. And that's our Air Force motto, fly, fight, and win. But in this business, that translates into fly, fight, and dominate. The F-22, the F-35, the B-2, and other combat assets don't just win. They dominate the airspace where they fly. And these platforms only dominate because they're refueled by the world's greatest refueling fleet and airmen, and supplied by the world's greatest airlifters, and provide the most exquisite intelligence by our intel platforms and airmen, and watched over by our rescue airmen. And this enterprise is sustained and maintained by the greatest craftsmen and women the aviation world has ever seen, the hardest thing that an Air Force does, maintenance and sustainment. I was at Nellis earlier this week, and unbeknownst to me, the buzz in the convention that we were walking through in the hotels and casinos we were walking through was the upcoming 2023 NFL Draft. They'll take place in a few weeks. I think it's in Kansas City, Missouri. And the TV reporter commented about, quote, the top performers who would be selected for, quote, the ultimate teams, for, quote, the ultimate team competition. I found this interesting because I can tell you with absolute certainty that while it's not a game, combat is, very unfortunately, without question, the ultimate team competition and requires the ultimate teammates. And you should be proud of being drafted into this nation's true top performers to join the ultimate team that doesn't just compete, it dominates its adversary. So I'm the only thing between you and a set of wings. So I'll close up. Let me close with the only thing that you're not allowed to forget during your aviation career. It's the same thing I started with, and it's the essence of this entire training regimen, and will be the essence of every day forward in this profession. You must execute ordinary aviation tasks extraordinarily well. Regardless of your professional journey, we want all of you, and that means all of you, to meet your grandchildren. And besides that, one of you, at least one of you, will need to return in 36 years to speak at UPT class 5908. Gosh. And so when you return to do that, you'll have a little less hair, probably a few more pounds, a bit more experience, but you'll generally appreciate coming back to the place that gave you the foundation aviation skills that set conditions to carry you over your career. So congratulations, have a great day, a rewarding career, and a better life journey. Thank you very much for the invite. Thank you.
Thank you, General Kelly. Class 2308 would like to present you a small token of their appreciation for being a part of the special occasion.
We will now recognize individuals who excelled in one or more phases of training. The new pilots competed for academic, leadership, and flying training awards, as well as the top wingman, distinguished graduate, and the coveted ATC Commander's Trophy. Each phase of training was carefully weighed, and only a slight margin separated the top performers. Colonel Speakman will now present the Academic Excellence Award to the pilot whose overall academic test averages exceeded those of their peers. The recipient of the academic award is Second Lieutenant Jacob H. Steiner.
Colonel Miller will now present the Leadership Award. The Leadership Award is presented to the officer who demonstrated outstanding leadership qualities and potential throughout this most rigorous and demanding military training program. The recipient of the Leadership Award is Captain David R. Rousseau.
And now Lieutenant Colonel Bopp will present the Flying Training Award. The Flying Training Award is presented to the pilot whose daily flying performance and check ride scores exceeded those of their peers. The recipient of the Flying Training Award is Second Lieutenant Matthew E. Lacrone.
Colonel Johnson will now present the Top Wingman Award. Selected by their peers, the Top Wingman Award is presented to the graduate who epitomized the support and teamwork critical to being a great wingman. The recipient of the Top Wingman Award is Second Lieutenant Jessica M. Stevens.
Colonel Johnson will now present the Distinguished Graduate Awards. To be selected for this honor, a student must maintain an exceptionally high average in all phases of training and finish in the top 10% of the class. The first Distinguished Graduate is Second Lieutenant Matthew E. Lacrone. The second distinguished graduate is Second Lieutenant Jacob H. Steiner.
Finally, the most prestigious trophy that the Air Education and Training Command presents to a pilot training graduate is the ATC Commander's Trophy. This pilot excelled in both flying and academics and demonstrated the initiative and leadership qualities essential to the professional Air Force officer. Additionally, they personify the tenets of the Order of Dedalians, a group dedicated to military aviation, personal integrity, and patriotism. General Mark Kelly will present the special award reserved for the officer who attained the highest overall rating throughout the entire program. And the winner of the ATC Commander's Trophy is Second Lieutenant Matthew E. Leckrone.
And now, the time that we've all been waiting for. Colonel Johnson will formally present the diplomas and pilot wings to our graduates. As they exit the stage, they will receive a commemorative coin with their unique graduation number from the 71st Student Squadron, First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Kerry Wilson. The new pilots and families and friends are invited to pin on the Air Force wings following the graduation ceremony.
Having completed the required course of training, the following officers of Class 2308 AU are awarded the Aeronautical Rating of Air Force Pilot. Captain David R. Rousseau.
Captain Doanne Van Kine.
First Lieutenant Nicholas A. Melville.
First Lieutenant Justin J. Weber.
Second Lieutenant Dawson R. Ayers.
Second Lieutenant Christopher J. Baker.
Second Lieutenant Daniel J. Beeson.
Second Lieutenant Eric D. Flynn.
Second Lieutenant Salim Gezgin.
Second Lieutenant Garrett E. Housley.
Second Lieutenant Mark J. Jabor.
Second Lieutenant Benjamin W. Jackson.
Second Lieutenant Cameron J. Jolly.
Second Lieutenant Ryan A. Joyner.
Second Lieutenant Matthew E. Lacrone.
Second Lieutenant Juan John J. Lee.
Second Lieutenant Robert S. Lewis.
Second Lieutenant Shane N. Lobo.
Second Lieutenant Christian Munoz.
Second Lieutenant Gabriel M. Oliveira.
Here we go. Second Lieutenant Elizabeth C. Ryan.
Second Lieutenant Jacob H. Steiner.
Second Lieutenant Jessica M. Stevens.
Second Lieutenant Casey M. Sutara. At this time, Colonel Johnson would like to recognize the instructor pilots selected by Class 2308 AU who most embodied the Air Force core values during T6 training and provided exceptional mentorship and instruction. These instructors will invite Class 2308 to continue the time-honored tradition of the breaking of the wings. Colonel Johnson will present the recipients with a plaque prior to the reading of this hallowed poem. Receiving the award from the 33rd Flying Training Squadron, Captain Taylor Fellon Wallet and Lieutenant Adam Sega Payne.
Since man started flying, he has taken to the air with a certain amount of risk. To counter peril, a tradition was established years ago when the Army Air Corps started issuing pilot their wings to aviators. This tradition is called the breaking of the wings. At every UPT graduation, the Air Force issues new pilots their first pair of wings. As a tradition has it, that first pair should never be worn by the pilot.
To bring good fortune through their aviation career, the novice pilot should break the emblem into two parts. One half is kept by the new pilot, the other half given to someone of significance in their lives. To preserve that good luck, those two halves should only be brought together again in the next life, promising successful flight through eternity.
Graduates, you are invited to take part in this tradition with your family and friends at a time and place of your choosing following this ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 24 newest and best trained Air Force aviators.